votes from the 14 polling stations were altered.
The National Resistance Movement is
Judge Bernard Namanya found out that the petitioner Nambi proved the case on balance of probabilities and that Elias Luyimba's Nalukola personally committed election offences by campaigning on the voting date. Judge Namanya also found out that the 16,640 voters were denied the right to vote and they were disenfranchised. The case which was set for the whole the results. Court also found out that since the petitioner Nambi proved that Nalukola campaigned on the voting day at Kazangola polling station, he committed electoral offences. Court found out that Nalukola committed electoral offences. With this, Judge Namanya nullified Luyimba's Nalukola's Election Act as elected member of parliament on the bribery. Court found out that and announced the position presented by Namanya ordered the electoral commission to conduct a fresh election. Who was one of Nalukola's agents, gave out relief items. Court also found out that although offences of obstructing voters were committed by Nalukola's agents, Nambi failed to present evidence to prove that the alleged agents committed the election offences with the knowledge, consent, and approval of Luyimba's in Nalukola, basing on the results from Mperere Primary School from A to Kasi, which had 87.68%, and at Mathero polling station from Nan to Z, which was 50.96%. Court was of the view that the uncounted votes from the 14 polling stations were unpredictable, that it could change Nalukola's victory. Court basing on the view that since the votes were not counted from the 14 polling stations, no one knows how many people voted. Apart from the 16,648 voters alleged by the petition, court also rejected Nalukola's argument that Nambi wouldn't have won the elections, even when the votes from the 14 polling stations were all tallied. Judge Bernard Namanya found out that the petitioner Nambi proved the case on balance of probabilities and that Elias Luyimba's Nalukola personally committed election offences by campaigning on the voting date. Judge Namanya also found out that the 16,640 voters who were denied the right to vote and they were disenfranchised affected the results. Court also found out that since the petitioner Nambi proved that Nalukola campaigned on the voting day at Kazangola polling station, he committed electoral offences. With this, Judge Namanya nullified Luyimba's Nalukola's victory as elected member of parliament for Kawempe North constituency and announced the position vacant. Namanya ordered the electoral commission to conduct a fresh election.
Well, first of all, the commission always respects court decisions. Secondly, as far as today's decision is concerned, this is a copy of the judgment. It's a 50-page judgment. I have not had occasion or opportunity to read it, internalize it, and understand the grounds on which the court premised itself to annul the election and what orders it gave in that regard. So I think in due course, after we have analyzed the judgment, we should be in position to determine as a commission the way forward. You know, at this point in time, I think it is premature for us as a commission to contemplate holding a by-election in Kawempe on account of this decision. Why? Because under the law, they see the avenue process, the appellate process by any of the aggrieved parties. So it is only after that process has been concluded and the final court, which is the Court of Appeal, stroke Constitutional Court, has pronounced itself on the matter, that we can now determine whether we shall go for a by-election in Kawempe North and when we should do that. So for the moment, I think, let us hold on and see whether the appeal process is concluded or any of the aggrieved parties in this petition is going to appeal to the Court of Appeal, and then we see the final decision. And secondly, the commission can only begin the process of organizing for a by-election after receiving a formal notification from the clerk to parliament. That's what the constitution says, that the clerk to parliament shall notify the electoral commission of the existence of a vacancy in parliament, and the electoral commission shall conduct by-elections to fill that vacancy within 60 days. Since at the moment, two things have not yet happened. One, The days provided for in law for an appeal have not yet expired or lapsed. Secondly, we have not yet received any formal communication from the clerk to Parliament notifying us of a vacancy in Parliament. Therefore, for us as a commission, we are still comfortably seated where we are. We cannot even contemplate or begin to plan for a by-election when the due processes in law have not yet been fully exhausted or complied with. Well, it depends on when we are required to begin that process of preparing for the by-election. I think that question can only be ably answered when we come to that period. Either is it in is it June, is it July, is it August, is it September? But now it would be premature for me to say whether we shall be in position to hold that by-election. You can count backwards yourself.
Now 8 months.
Yes.
No, we want to understand, is it on the nomination, on the polling day, or when does the 6
No,
months
it says that the law, the way we understand it as a commission, talks of polling day, because you cannot talk of the polling process takes place on a specific day. And the law has said that the Electoral Commission cannot set a day for polling or for voting unless and until nominations have been concluded for that particular elective office. So as we talk now, we cannot set the date for presidential elections, nor parliamentary elections or local government elections until after nominations have been done. However, you can do your own tabulation, because Article 61, Clause 2, is the benchmark, defines the timelines within which the general election must be held. It is within the first 30 days or the remaining 122 days to the expiry of the term of government. Now, when you look at if you do some simple tabulation, the term of government will lapse or expire on 12th of May 2006. So you count 122 days backwards. Okay? You get to about January 10th or 11th or 12th, around there. That's when those days begin from that time. Then you count the first 30 days going forward now of the 122 days. So that's why we say in our roadmap, if you recall, we say that polling for presidential, parliamentary, local government shall take place between 12th of January and 9th or 10th of February 2026. So now, if you count 6 months, therefore, from 12th January, you find you fall around 12th July 2026, and that's why 2025. So that's why we are saying, at the moment, today is 20th of May. It will be very speculative for us to start talking of when we shall be, or whether we shall be able to hold that by-election if all the other due processes have been exhausted or complied with. It is very premature. A petition, you will all recall, I think the main ground by the petitioner, that is Nambi, was that the failure by the commission to declare or announce the results from the 14 polling stations, okay, disadvantaged her. That probably if those results had been declared, she could have won. That was her case, all right? And we did concede and accept that indeed we could not declare the results from those 14 polling stations because some people came and destroyed the results after counting. And that was not the fault of the Electoral Commission. For us, we organized everything in accordance with the law. We expected the other stakeholders also to act in accordance with the law, and therefore we're not in position to declare those results. That the court seems to have found that, look, in as far as you do not declare those results, therefore, you do not comply with the law. And therefore, we are saying, okay, we respect that court decision for now. We are going to study the judgment and see the grounds on which the court based itself, and then we determine the way forward. But for now, we are saying the Electoral Commission acts in accordance with the law, performs its tasks and duties. We expect all other stakeholders to do the same. Certainly not. I think the Electoral Commission did what in the circumstances was plausible or best. It did what it could do. First of all, we did not anticipate that any right-thinking member of society would go and attack the polling stations and destroy those materials or destroy those ballots or the counted results. We never expected that, because we expected whoever was participating in that process was sane and acting within the law. We never expected that. And secondly, the returning officer, having weighed the circumstances then, I think took the decision in his view that, look, we proceed to count the results from the 184 something polling stations. We leave out the 14 polling stations, and then so that we do not disenfranchise the voters from the other 184 polling stations. But the court seems to have been of a different view, which, as I said, we are going to analyze and see how it contextualized the reasons, the grounds, the reasons that resulted in the returning officer not being in position to declare or to tally and declare those results in the context of all the circumstances that prevailed on that day.
So
we want to study that.
You're financially constrained. If a by-election happens, do you still have funds to organize it?
Again, that is speculative, because, as I said, we are not yet at the level of determining whether we shall be able to hold those elections until the due processes have been exhausted. There is an avenue for appeal, and that appeal can take place. The person who wishes to appeal has, I think, about 30 days from the date of judgment to lodge that appeal. That is one. Secondly, we still have, we cannot contemplate, or we cannot think or plan that we are going to have a by-election in Kawempe North, because we have to await the clerk to Parliament to formally notify the Commission that there is a vacancy in the Parliament. But as we talk now, I think Naruko is still in Parliament, despite the court decision, until the clerk to Parliament notifies the Commission there is a vacancy in Kawempe North, and then we shall the provisions of the Constitution under Article 81 shall be brought into play, that we must hold a by-election within 60 days. So for now, we are only guessing. Shall it take place or it won't take place?